Hello guys, it's BO2 and today I'm going to be pack-punching every single gun on Town in one game. Now this isn't your regular zombies video, as this took me almost 2 weeks to film due to the amount of screw-ups I had in the process. In the end, I ended up with over 15 hours of raw footage, which is why today's video will be a little bit more different than usual. Instead of me giving live commentary as I play the game, I will be narrating over the video after I have already recorded it, if that makes sense. Because rather than having to scrap the footage and re-record it as most YouTubers do, I'm instead going to be commentating over the raw footage to highlight all my mistakes, and believe me, there was a lot of them. So join me in my adventure as I go through literal hell on earth to try and complete this challenge. This is one of the biggest projects I've ever done. The time and effort I put into this is a lot more than my regular videos. So if you do like it, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe. If not, just watching the video is a big help too. So my first issue I faced with this challenge was how I'm going to record what guns I had pack-a-punched and which ones I hadn't. First I decided to write them all down on paper, but later binned the idea and just did it digitally by crossing out the pictures of the guns. That way it can be erased and reused when I start a new game. So without further ado, let's get into the gameplay. So starting off with attempt number 1, this is my first time attempting this challenge. I didn't really have a plan outlined in the long run. My main goal was to just pack-a-punch all of the wall weapons and then work my way towards the box. I started off as I normally did. I shot the zombies in the leg 4 times and then stabbed them. That way you get more points from the zombies. Then at the end of round 1 I decided to purchase the M14 off the wall. This was my first wall buy, just so I can pack-a-punch it early, get it out of the way. This was my main strategy here. I was just trying to get all the wall guns out of the way. And then finally at the end of round 3 I decided to pack-a-punch my first weapon, the 1911, which ended up becoming the Mustang and Sally. So now I've only got 26 more weapons left. What could possibly go wrong from now? Oh my god, how did I do that? Yeah, so I may or may not have just blown myself up with the Mustang and Sally's. Attempt number 2, I decided to say F it and go straight for the M14, buying it off the wall for 500 points. Finally, round 4 ends and I pack-a-punched the M14 instead of the 1911s because I don't want to end up repeating the same mistake again. So finally, round 6 comes to an end and I decide to upgrade the 1911s. But just after I do this, I decide to switch out for the MP5 because, like I said before, I would rather not make that mistake again. Finally, at the end of the wave, I can actually pack-a-punch the MP5 without exploding myself with the 1911s. And after that, I celebrate by downing some Juggernog, which will definitely help in the higher rounds. And last but not least, I purchased the Olympia, the final wall weapon I need before I start moving on to the box weapons. Straight after purchasing the Olympia, I decide to spin the box just for the hell of it, and I end up getting monkey bombs. Which, to be fair, I would much prefer a gun, but monkey bombs will help significantly into the higher rounds, so I didn't really mind that much. And there's evidence of me pack-punching the Olympia before I end up getting comments like, but you didn't pack-punch it doesn't count, you cheating. No, I'm not, because there's the evidence of me actually pack-punching it, so I have done it. So at round 11, to celebrate all of the wall guns being pack-a-punched, I decided to take a risk and open the mystery box, only to get an executioner, which is actually quite a fine weapon. And once I rack up enough money, I pack-a-punch the executioner, making that my 5th pack-a-punch weapon. And to celebrate, I decided to hit the box again, only to get the worst weapon known to mankind, the War Machine. This thing can barely even hit a single thing in front of it. A drunk person could probably hit better than this thing. But mind you, this weapon will be got rid of once I pack-a-punch it, so it's no big deal. I've still got loads more weapons to pack-a-punch, or at least that's what I think. Yeah, no, maybe not. I went down again. So attempt number 3 comes around, and this time I decide to do things a little bit differently. Rather than picking up a weapon, pack-a-punching it, getting rid of it, getting a new one, I decide this time to just camp and just rack up loads of money. Because when you play COD Zombies, getting into the higher rounds, you have loads of money. You just sit there on high rounds not knowing what to do with it. I know whenever I play Town, I end up with like 30,000 points, which I never use. I just sit there in a corner and just shoot zombies with. And so I thought I could use that to my advantage, because those 30,000 points could be used to pack-a-punch a good few weapons. That's if you actually do get some good weapons out of the box. So I do the usual. I pack-a-punch the 1911, I pack-a-punch the M14, I pack-a-punch the Olympia, the MP5, and then I begin to hit the box. However, you may notice in my last run I didn't buy Juggernog right away, but this time I decided to buy it quite early on, along with Double Tap and Speed Cola. Because as we all know, perks is basically what allows you to survive in zombies. Without perks, you're going to end up finding yourself dying very easily. You're going to have a very early funeral. So wave 15 comes around, and I decide to get a little bit cheeky and open the box to see what I'll get. And I end up getting an M8A7, which isn't a bad start. I pack-a-punch that, and then I spin the box again to find myself a hammer. HAMR, hammer, whatever the hell you want to call it. This is a really good points weapon. I'm really glad I actually got this early on. It'll allow me to get loads more points. I actually do hold on to this weapon for quite a long time because it is such a good points weapon. So next thing you know, it's round 19. I got 24,000 points. I decided, oh yeah, let's just spin the box again. I get a foul, which is quite nice. That's a good weapon I can just pack-a-punch and get rid of. And then I spin the mystery box again, and this happens. In the meantime, I decide to pack-a-punch my foul, get it out of the way as soon as possible. So when the box finally decides it wants to land, I end up unboxing myself an Executioner, which is quite nice. I immediately run and pack-a-punch that. And then I unboxed myself another LMG, the RPD. And in case you've never played Black Ops 2 Zombies, the LMGs are really good at making points, so obviously I'm going to have a lot of points under my belt to get a lot of new weapons. And then after I unbox these lucky weapons, the mystery box decides, no, you know what, you've been too lucky today, I'm going to end up giving you absolute shit. Are you taking the actual piss? Are you taking the piss? Look at this. So after that unfortunate turn of events, I decided to wait a few rounds. I end up racking over 20,000 points, and then I decide to hit the box again. This time I managed to get myself a Barrett, which isn't the most interesting weapon in the game, but it is a pack-a-punch weapon I do need. I do need to get rid of it urgently. Then I get this piece of shit back out of the box. And this thing has already caused me so much pain already. And of course, without hesitation, I pack-a-punch both of the weapons, including the war machine, in hopes of getting rid of it. But little did I know, something else was going to come out of that box as well. An RPG-7, and of course I wasn't very happy at this point, but as soon as I pack-a-punched it, I can get rid of it with the next weapon, so I thought nothing of it. And there is worse weapons I could have had, like the SMR, so it's not really that bad. And guess what happens next? I get extremely lucky. Ow! Yeah, that's right, I died again. So after I finished contemplating what the hell just happened, I decided to jump back on again and decide to do the same tactic. I'll wait until I get 10,000 and then I pack-a-punch both my M14 and the 1911. Then of course I upgrade the MP5K and the Olympia as usual. At this point I realised the MP5 is actually quite a decent points weapon, so I decided to keep it. I spin the box again and I get the war machine, which as you and I both know, I absolutely love this thing. Not really, I'm just kidding. So I decided to pack-a-punch the war machine and try and get rid of it as soon as possible. Oh, and just a quick rant, this war machine and pack-a-punch is absolutely terrible. As you can see, I'm shooting the zombies with the war machine and it takes like 2 hits just to blow them up. This thing is honestly just terrible. And the next weapon I receive is the DSR-50, which in my opinion is miles better than the war machine. I decided to do a little bit of no-scoping because let's face it, that's literally what you use this weapon for on multiplayer. I do pack-a-punch this DSR as soon as possible, and of course you do sometimes get the DSR without the scope when you pack-a-punch, but I'm afraid I didn't, but I don't really mind because I'm going to get rid of the gun anyway. So after spinning the box again, I pick myself up an M1216, which is very nice. I go and pack-a-punch that again. And later on I spin the box again, I get a Python, which is going quite nicely. I go and pack-a-punch that thing immediately, and I move on to the next box weapon. A couple of rounds later, I pick up the dual 5.7s, and it's funny because I'm not usually excited about picking up a weapon like the dual 5.7s, but in this scenario where I need to pack-a-punch every single weapon in the map, I will take whatever weapon there is. So the box luck continues. I get the single 5.7 which I haven't had before. I also get the hammer. I immediately go and run to pack-a-punch both of these weapons, or at least I try to. A few moments later I find myself unboxing an S12, which I think is quite decent. Of course I get a teddy bear afterwards. And I gotta say, the S12 pack-a-punch is surprisingly pretty good. Although the only issue is there's barely any ammo, you only get like 40 rounds in it, and I'm afraid this is where it sort of went a bit wrong. As you can see here, I begin to get surrounded in the alleyway and I'm like, oh crap, I'm about to die. And I end up trying to manoeuvre around everybody. I nearly make it out of there and then I end up going down. Oh no! At this point I decided to leave it for today. I decided to come back to it tomorrow, just so I can refresh myself, like have a look back at the footage, find out what I'm doing wrong, etc. Attempt number 5, I decided to change my approach yet again, resulting in this being a lot better than my previous attempts. So I cut back on my perks and now I only have Juggernog and Quick Revive. No double tap or speed cola, which means I can save money, but it will be a little bit challenging in the higher rounds. And I realised yesterday I didn't border any windows, which means I wasn't getting extra money. Because as you know in COD Zombies, when you border up windows you get money for it, which I didn't do at all. And also I wait until the end of the round to spin the box, not during the round, which I realised was a big mistake last time. I even changed my approach to editing this video as well. Instead of highlighting every single gun I pack-a-punch, saying I pack-a-punch this, pack-a-punch that, I died then. It just got a bit repetitive, so instead I decided to spin things up and just highlight the key moments rather than going through each individual weapon just to end up failing. And this time I do get lucky with a load of double points and insta-kills along with a couple of max ammos, which means I can pack-a-punch all of my wall guns by about round 10. And getting into the higher rounds, my strategy was to save 2 zombies until the very end, that way I could run around the whole map, border up every single window and get loads of points from it. And this strategy helped like a lot. I honestly cannot believe how I didn't just do this earlier, because it just got me so much money, so many points. I genuinely cannot believe just now I've just forgot about this. Like, it did help a lot. And then here's where things got a little bit crazy, because I got my first down, but luckily I still had Quick Revive so I could get up again, unlike my last attempts where I didn't have it and ended up going down permanently. However, there was a big problem, because as soon as I got up I was surrounded with no Jug or Quick Revive, and I literally had to clutch my way out of that sticky situation. And of course, one big issue with getting to higher rounds in COD Zombies is you do tend to run out of ammo or get low on ammo. And this is a big problem which I started facing the further I got into the rounds. I had no other choice but to spin the box, but it didn't give me any new weapons that I could use to pack-a-punch. And then things get even better, because I end up going down again. No! Fucking damn it! I tried to get past the zombie crowd, but there was no space to move. I misjudged the amount of space there was. I thought I could get around it, but of course I didn't quite see it properly and I ended up going down. And if that wasn't bad enough, a few minutes later I go down again, the 3rd time. Oh no! Oh, why? I just bought Juggernog and Quick Revive a few minutes ago and I went down again. This was my 3rd down as well, so that means I have no more Quick Revive I've only got Juggernog. If I go down again, it's permanent. After that major embarrassment, I decided to spin the box multiple times, not getting a single new weapon. I only needed 4 more weapons, the M1216, the War Machine, the Ray Gun Mark II, the Cap 40, but I got absolutely nothing. And having spent all of my money on the mystery box to get nothing, I was left with no other choice but to use a Ray Gun Mark I, a gun I've already pack-punched. And a few minutes later, you guessed it, I went down again, and I lost. So in total I managed to pack-punch a total of 23 out of 27 weapons, and I did miles better than my other runs, which is a step in the right direction. Now all I need is actual box luck and I'll be alright. Attempt number 6, I do the exact same thing again. I board up the windows, pack a bunch of wall guns and then the box weapons. As my last attempt was almost successful, I decided to replicate it because that was the way to go. I had the strategy all worked out and all I need to do is get good box luck and avoid going down too soon. Luckily, I managed to pack a punch all of the wall guns at the end of round 10, which is quite good. I managed to get it at about the same time as my last attempt, so I wasn't too far behind. And of course, I start buying my perks. I save up 2500 points, buy Juggernog, because obviously that will make the rounds a lot easier. Here I pick up double points and then I have a genius idea. Whilst I shoot the zombies and get double points, I'll repair a barrier at the same time. That way I get 20 extra points along with the zombie kill. Sometimes my genius is almost frightening. I then open the doors to the bar, which some people may say is a waste of money, but I need it so I can buy quick revive, and plus bar has 2 windows which I can border up for more points, so not all is lost. Oh, and I'm also stuck with the ballistic knife until I can pack punch it, so yeah, this is going to be a good few rounds. Not. So do you remember in my last attempt when I only needed 4 more guns to complete the challenge? I need the M1216, the War Machine, the Ray Gun Mark II, the Cap 40. Well, guess who decides to show up? The M1216, and one of the last weapons I needed last game, but I never got. Oh, and if you thought that was bad, guess who else decides to make an appearance? The Cap 40. First the M1216, and now the Cap 40. 2 weapons I really needed decided to show up back to back. So at this point the box feels sorry for me, which is a first, because then I end up getting this out of the box. That's right, 3 out of the 4 weapons I desperately needed to complete the challenge, and they appear in the next game. I swear this box is taking the fuck. Throughout the run I was quite impressed with how I haven't gone down yet. I'm pretty good at this, I thought to myself, and then it all went downhill. What's my decision? When I tried to get back up, I tried to get Juggernog, only to be surrounded by zombies. I had no other choice but to jump and risk running around with no jug. I did pull a lucky clutch though, which was cool. Jug out of reach, I ran to the second best perk in reach, quick revive. And finally I managed to get Juggernog in the end without any interruptions. But what could possibly go wrong from now, I thought. Then this happened. Again! Yeah, I blame the packed SMR for this one. If I had better weapons, I could have easily gotten out of that one. I certainly was not happy after this though. I already spent 3,000 on Juggernog and Quick Revive, and now I have to buy them again. And at round 26, just as I thought I'd got back on my feet, I had a much bigger problem to deal with. I had no ammo. I was in the middle of a zombies round with no ammo and loads of running zombies, so I had no choice but to hit the box, and this is where things went very downhill. What do? I was stuck with an unpacked Python. Luckily the box rewarded me with a Ray Gun Mark II after I went down. Go on the ground and die. Oh yes, Mark II, finally. Normally I would be quite mad at going down again, but luckily I managed to get the rarest gun out of the box, so I wasn't unhappy. But another issue came along. I've run out of quick revive, which means when I go down again, it's permanent. So of course I immediately get to work on pack-punching the Ray Gun Mark II, as it is a very good damage dealing weapon, and I need this for the higher rounds. Round 27 I'm using the dual 5.7s, the pack-a-punch ones. I try and run backwards into the bar, only to get caught in the crowd, and I go down again, this time losing the game. Nope. No. Oh, why? And yet again I managed to get 23 out of 27 weapons. This time the only ones I'm missing are the FAL, HAMR, DSR-50 and the M8A1. So apart from the unfortunate downs on the box luck, I would say those games went really well. I got further than yesterday and even pack a bunch more guns. I found a good strategy, it's just trying to execute it is the issue. Another problem I'm going to face is box luck and what I can get out of the box. But overall there's been some pretty big improvements. Attempt number 7, I start the game off as I normally do. I border the windows, I pack a bunch of the wall guns. Little did I know this was all out to go wrong, as you will see in my next few attempts. I really shouldn't have done this mid-round, but I decided to pack a bunch to Type 25 early as I had no ammo. Then I'm surrounded by a giant horde of zombies, so I try to lose them by going into the bar and back. But before I get the pack-a-punch Type 25, the gun disappears from the machine, so I just spent 5,000 points and lost the gun. I tried to funnel the zombies upstairs to the bar, but here's where things went a little bit downhill. I knew this would go really wrong, but I still tried it and I got my first down. To be fair, I only did it so I could get as many points as possible whilst I had double points. Obviously this backfired pretty badly. Speaking of bad luck, I also had bad luck with the mystery box. First I get the ballistic knife, which I've already pack a bunch. Then I get the monkey bombs, which can be useful, but I wanted the gun to pack a bunch. And then I get a teddy bear. So what more could possibly go wrong from here? Then a few minutes later, if you thought things would not get any worse, I go down again. I was stuck on an invisible barrier. As you can see, there was a bunch of bins next to that fence. I tried to go around the bins, but apparently there's an invisible wall there, so I ended up getting cornered. And not even 3 minutes later, you guessed it, I went down again. The animation on the RPD glitched out and decided to reload, even though I had a full magazine. And it's physically impossible to reload in zombies when you have full ammo. 100 bullets in the mag, which for an unpacked RPD means the magazine is full. So why was it reloading? I swear this game is against me at times. So with all my quick revives gone and I am left with nothing but Juggernog and an unpacked Executioner. Looking back at the last few minutes, what else could possibly go wrong from here? Well, never mind then. Now I don't know what was going on with these next few attempts, whether I just had my head screwed on backwards. I don't know if it's just me or the game saying F you, because these attempts went really badly. I'm not even going to count these as attempts because I barely even made it past round 5, it was that bad. For some reason I thought it was a good idea to knife a zombie with no jug in lava, which exploded and caused me to die.
No! How did I do that? I knew that was gonna happen.
But to be fair, it was my fault. I should have waited, but I was a bit too eager to rack up points, so that was my bad. And then the other attempt, I get unlucky because zombies can double swipe you in COD Zombies, especially the older ones, which is what happened to me. And I didn't have any jug or quick revive, so I ended up dying. Attempt number 8, technically 10, but I'm going to count it as 8 because the other 2 don't count. I actually get my head screwed on this time. I actually do a lot better than my other 2 attempts, but it was nothing too great either. I pick up Juggernog a few rounds earlier at round 8 rather than later because I don't want to end up making that same mistake again. And also I'm a lot more cautious about my surroundings this time. Now as we all know, the SMR is one of the worst weapons in Zombies history, and with that being said, guess who I got? To be fair, this is the once and only time I'm actually happy to get this gun out the box because I know I'll be getting rid of it soon. And after I pack a punch the SMR, this happens. Yeah, I don't care what people say about that, I'm still blaming the SMR for this one, it's a terrible gun. It has the worst reputation in Zombies for a reason, and seems as though I went down next to the bar, I thought I may as well get quick revive first, that way I get another life. Oh, and do you remember a few games ago when I lost the Type 25 in the pack-a-punch machine? It ended up setting me back a good few rounds and points.
Well, look who's back.
The Type 25. Yay. Why does this keep happening to me? And without failure or hesitation, I pack a punch the Type 25 at the end of the rounds, not during. But to be fair, I did have no ammo last time, so I did have no other choice. And as the rounds progress, things start to look up. I'm getting my guns pack a punch, and I haven't got too many down the count. And then of course, we all know this is where things start to go downhill. I make the stupid mistake of going to the alley to spin the box in the middle of a zombies round. And looking back at this, I should not have done this. I had like loads of ammo left. I don't know why I was doing that. Spinning a box mid-round when you got loads of ammo just doesn't make sense. And of course I deserved my down for that. I was pretty stupid. But when I got back up, I had another issue. The exit from the alley to the rest of the map is very small, and it was blocked by loads of zombies, so I had no other choice but to try and get around them, only to get stuck and die early on at round 24. So in conclusion, this has just been a total mess. I had 2 good attempts trying to get past round 20, but my other 2 attempts were, well, we don't talk about those. Looking back, I should have waited until the end of the round to open the box, as I know this got me down last time. And I also need to be careful of my surroundings, like lava and who's around me. But it is what it is. We'll have to wait and see what day 4 has in store. So attempt number 9, I start off the exact same way as before. I pack a bunch of the wall guns and get to the box weapons. I did take a few days away from Black Ops 2 Zombies because of other important matters, but today I decided to return once more. I did end up getting quite lucky, but also unlucky, as you will see later on. I do go down early at round 18 due to my stupidity. I should not have spammed the box mid-round, but I was low on ammo. But those early rounds didn't bother me as I managed to get to round 30. This time I was only 3 guns away from completing the challenge, not 4, so I am getting closer each time. And here at round 30 I go down and lose because I decided to do something stupid. Instead of running away from the crowd, I decided to risk it and run for the double points. And yeah, this is the result. After that attempt, I felt a bit tired, so I decided to come back in about an hour or 2, and this is how it pays me back. I knew from now on things were about to be just like the day before, and I'm not counting this as an attempt. But you may be wondering, but where's attempt 1 went the same way, but you counted that one. I only did that because it was my first time attempting the challenge. The rest will not be counted. Luckily though, things did not repeat themselves with attempt number 10, and without hesitation, I jumped straight back into it as soon as I went down at round 4. This time I'm a lot more cautious of my surroundings. I have a habit of just getting myself killed for no reason, so I definitely do need to be a lot more cautious. And I don't know if it's something I said or something I did because the zombies just stopped spawning. I waited a good 10 minutes as I thought if you wait long enough the trap zombie would despawn. But no, the zombies just decided to take an early vacation or something because not one spawned in. So I had no other choice but to quit at round 24. I was literally stuck doing nothing. Attempt number 11. Now this was actually one of my best attempts I've ever done, and you may be wondering why I just briefly covered the other attempts. That's because I get so close to completing the challenge, but then something happened. So as usual, I pack a bunch of the 4 wall guns, the M14, 1911, Olympia, MP5. I finally get the ray gun Mark II out of the box, and I keep this for a very long time, because as we all know the ray gun Mark II is a very good damage dealing weapon, although it doesn't have that much ammo. I actually still kept this gun until the late 20s, then half an hour later I get monkey bombs out of the box, a very helpful tool which I underestimated in my last runs. And throughout this part I was speaking quietly as it was late at night and people were sleeping. And no, before you ask, I'm not unemployed, I work part-time. I just do afternoon and evening shifts, so I do have a job outside of playing video games late at night. As I get further into the rounds I struggle to get my last few weapons. No! What's right there? No! I saw it. Fucking... I spin and spin the box, but with no luck I'm forced to use Unpack-a-Punch weapons for points, which wasn't very efficient, but I don't want to spend 5 grand again just to pack-a-punch the same weapon. And then I realised I had to get rid of my Ray Gun Mark II if I wanted to get the Ray Gun Mark I, because in Zombies you can only have one or the other. So as much as I regretted doing it, I did get rid of my Ray Gun Mark II, and I got the Ray Gun Mark II back again, like just not even a few minutes later. Like, just talk about luck. At this point I only needed 2 more weapons, the Ray Gun Mark I and the Python. That's why I got rid of the Ray Gun Mark II, so I could get the Ray Gun Mark I. But in the desperate attempt to get them out of the box, I risked my quick revive and I ended up going down. Straight after I trade out my Ray Gun Mark II, I get the Ray Gun Mark I for once. This is proof that you can have both at the same time, but it is very uncommon. So now all I needed was the Python, and I finished the damn challenge. Or at least that's what I thought. But finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, the Python, my final box weapon and the last gun I needed to complete the challenge. It's mine, in my hands. So why is the gameplay paused then? Why is this very frame paused? Well, out of sheer excitement, I decided to rush straight for the Python without thinking, and... Oh no! Yeah, that's right, the final gun. I had it in my hands. Just a little longer and I could pack-a-punch it, but I ended up going down. When I went down at that moment, I remember exactly what I was thinking, like, why did I do that? I was so mad at myself. Why didn't I just use the monkey bombs? I had 2 left. And why did I go down earlier stupidly? I could have used that last quick revive to get me out of that situation. And I blame so many things in this situation, but it just is what it is. And after the game had finished, I just stared at the menu screen, contemplating what the hell just happened. I genuinely could not believe my eyes. I had the last gun in my hand, the Python. That was all I needed to complete the challenge. I just had to hold out a little bit longer to complete the challenge. But I screwed up because I got too excited. I had it all and I lost it. After the unfortunate events of last night, I get some sleep and immediately get to work the very next day as soon as I'm awake. And it worked! I pack-a-punched every gun on the map. I knew in my last attempt I could have done it, and I went and did it. The first attempt of the day as well. And in total this run took me a whopping 2.5 hours to do, so let me walk you through what happened. You may want to buckle up because this is going to take a while. So at round 4 I decided to pack-a-punch the M14, and then at round 6, going on to round 7, I pack-a-punched the 1911. Straight after I traded out the Mustang and Sally's for the MP5, as we all know what happened last time.
Oh my god, how did I do that?
And at the end of round 7, I pack-a-punched the MP5. Here I picked up Juggernog at round 9 as I'd rather make this run successful. I did end up pack-a-punching all of the wall guns quite late. As you can see, I spent points on Jug and I haven't even got my 4th weapon yet, the Olympia. Luckily though, I got a double points earlier and boarded up all the windows in the map, earning me over 6,000 points, and I pack-a-punched the final war gun, the Olympia, and without hesitation I hit the box and got the Cap 40. Then I spanned the box again to get the DSR 50. I traded it out for the M14 and got to work racking up some money. Instead of saving up to pack-a-punch the DSR, I instead opened the bar not only for the quick revive but also to border up more windows, which gives me more dosh. And finally, at the end of round 13, I pack-a-punched the DSR. To celebrate, I span the box again and I get the Barrett. But at least it's not a Python. After last night, my opinion on that 6-shooter piece of crap has changed. Yet again, I received some more double points for my efforts, and I pack-a-punched the Barrett at the end of round 15. I border up some more windows and hit the box with 2,900 points left, and I get the War Machine. At least it appears early in the game so I can get rid of it. And I actually found a really good strategy to use the War Machine. If you shoot it indoors, the grenades are less likely to fly away, and I actually managed to hit the target and get some money, although the grenades are still quite unpredictable, so it's not going to hit it every single time, but it's a lot better indoors. And finally, at the end of round 16, I pack-a-punched the War Machine, although the pack-a-punch version is still not that good. I hit the box once more and I get the MTAR, a really good points weapon which I will be using a lot. And finally I pack-a-punched the MTAR with 2800 points to spare. After surviving another round, I hit the box and get the RPG. Nothing better than the War Machine, but it is a gun I need. And shortly after, I pack-a-punch it. Round 20, I spin the box again and I get the hammer. And finally, I managed to pack-a-punch this gun. And here, I was only supposed to grab the insta-kill, not the nuke, but I took both by accident and I ended up ending the round. I was going to use that time to spin the box, but I had to wait another round. And at the end of round 21, I attempted to find something new, but all I got was old guns, so I was left with no other choice but to use the ones I already had. Finally, after many tries, I get the Executioner, and after getting the teddy bear out of the box, I immediately pack-a-punch the Executioner and head to the alley. Then straight after, I get the ballistic knife, which I pack-a-punch and get rid of immediately. The next thing you know, I get the M1216, which isn't bad at all. 3 pack-a-punch guns in one round, not bad at all. Then I decide to wait until the end of round 22. I spin the box once more, only to get monkey bombs. These will come in handy in the later rounds. And then you won't believe who decides to show up. It's back again. The Python. My PTSD already begins to set in from last night. At the end of round 23, once I boarded up all the windows, I pack-a-punched the Python, the final weapon I needed last night, and it appears now, out of all things. But finally I can put the trauma behind me because I finally get the ray gun Mark II, and of course I immediately pack-a-punch it. And just like last time, I do plan on keeping this very late game, so it definitely does need pack-a-punching. I spin the box again at the end of round 24 and I get the Galil, which I trade out instantly for the Python. I border up more windows with my double points and I pack-a-punch the Galil. Nearing the end of round 25, I get the Type 25 out of the box and I pack-a-punch the gun straight after. At the end of round 26, with 19,000 points, I spin the box once more to get M8A1, which of course I immediately pack-a-punch. I spin and spin the box, but with no luck I was about to quit until I get the FAL, which I pack-a-punch straight off the bat. Going on to round 27, the box continued to give me bad luck until I finally got the dual 5.7s. Fucking finally. I'll take that, thank you. And without a second wasted, I pack-a-punch them immediately. Next up, I get the SMR out of the box, which normally I would be mad about, but for once I'm actually happy to get the SMR so I can get rid of it. Keep in mind this is the once and only time I will smile when I hold this gun. Oh, come on, come on. And of course I spin and spin the box again with no luck until this happens.
No.
Are you serious? Now I get it. The single 5.7, one of the last guns I needed, and it's mine, although I no longer have enough points to pack-a-punch it, so I have to use the unpacked version until I have enough money. I did run out of ammo fast, so I had to use a monkey bomb so I could pack-a-punch the single 5.7, but I told you the monkey bombs would come in use. I had no other choice but to trade out the ray gun Mark II if I wanted the ray gun Mark I, and that's exactly what I got, the ray gun Mark I. And then not even a minute later, I get the S12, which I pack-a-punch immediately. And then not even a minute later, I get the Shikon CQB. Things are going a little bit too well if you ask me, but I ignore it for now and pack-a-punch the Shikon. Finally, the moment has came. I only need the RPD and I've completed the challenge. Can I finish this challenge once and for all? I spin and spin the box over and over and over again. But with no luck, I'm forced to use the unpacked weapons for points. But finally, the moment has came. The RPD, it's mine. Yes! Yes, I fucking got the last gun! The final weapon I need, and I've got it. Of course I grab it without hesitation, but there's a big issue. I don't have enough money to pack-a-punch it, so I'm forced to wait another round until I can pack-a-punch this thing. And I did it! I finally did it! I pack-a-punched the RPD. I used the monkey bomb to distract the zombies, and the weapon is mine. The 27th pack-a-punch weapon, and it's mine. We fucking did it. Let's go. To celebrate, I hold a grenade in my hand and suicide, and then I jump straight into the lava while shooting the ray gun Mark 1. The game ends and I smile knowing I don't have to do this anymore. And I realised as well throughout the game I didn't even go down once, apart from the end where I did kind of suicide, but we don't count that one. But anyway guys, this is the end of the video, the end of the challenge as we know it. This challenge took me ages not only to film but also to edit and plan, so if you did enjoy it don't forget to like and subscribe. This has certainly been one of the biggest videos I've ever done, so any support is appreciated. If you did make it this far, comment RPD31 below. But this is it from me, thank you all again for watching this lengthy but challenging video, and I'll see you all very soon.